This is the Star Wars The Black Series, Luke Skywalker as a Jedi Knight from the Return of the Jedi movie. And I picked up this figure at Hobby Corner. So look at the packaging. So right off the bat, I wanted to discuss a quality issue that I noticed with this figure. And let me show you very quickly. And it's got to do with his hair. As you can see, his hair should be like, you know, a Justin Bieber type of hairstyle, okay? It should be glued on, straight on like that, covering both ears. Now, I have seen a couple of figures that had the hair about twisted a little bit off to his right, and it exposed it in his right ear is obviously exposed, and the partition of his hair is no longer here on the side. It's a little bit in the center, so just be wary with that. The sort of the blush on he has, the way the lips have been painted, even the eyes, most of them I've seen were pretty okay. And the left eye, if you're going to look through several on the pegs, it's the left eye which will have more issues than the right eye, and the left eye would have probably a more scattered white glimmery pattern than the right eye. So just a bit of caution. And I was discussing this with Doc Steven, and he's like shaking his head, and he's like he knows he's gonna have a hard time again sifting through several of these figures. And best of luck to everybody hunting this one down. And I would like to particularly mention, because I saw a couple, not just an isolated figure, not just one figure, but 2 or 3 figures that had the hair glued on, skewed to the right. So be wary of that. Okay, enough talk. Let's get this figure out of packaging. And here is Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker out of packaging. And this is probably my favorite Luke Skywalker version out of all the Luke Skywalkers we've had. I mean, I love this version. Even the 3.75-inch figures, I've always loved this one before I sold all of them off. And if you remember Return of the Jedi, Episode 6, this is how he looked like as he entered Jabba the Hutt's palace, and he was trying to negotiate the release of his friends. Eventually he was captured, and as you can see, his hand is still in pristine condition. They've replaced his hand with the cybernetic one, and it's coated with that synthetic skin. It hasn't been blasted yet, so he's not wearing a glove yet. So yeah, it looks pretty cool, actually. I'm very surprised at this figure. Just really looks good. I did a little bit of cheating right here. I cheated a little bit. The Amazing Yamaguchi stand is kind of squeezing the cowl so that it looks nice on him. If you remove that stand, the cowl looks like it's all over the place. Like it's way too big for him, and I wish they could have sewn it down a little bit just like that. If they had sewn it, use a little bit more string or thread right here to sew it down, and like that, it would look really nice. But as it is, it's really it's like Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah, so okay, roll it again. I mean, also, I actually thought it should have been black. I don't know why it's in this olive. It has a shade. It's brown with a shade of olive on it, and not entirely sure why it's like that. I've always thought it was a little bit of a very dark brown or black, grayish black type of. I don't know. I'm gonna watch that. I need to watch episode 6 again, but yeah, they've chose this color. It's fine. So nevertheless, I still like this cloak. My only reservation, other than the color, is that they used a very small amount of thread to connect the cloak right here, and it seems like it's already coming apart or coming undone, and maybe, you know, some customizers might want to sew that back on, but it feels so fragile that if one tug, you could like literally rip this apart. So a bit of a reservation there. I wish they could have sewn it a little bit more. I guess it will vary from figure to figure. I've seen a couple of figures in the shop that had threads sewn up all the way, like half a centimeter up there, while this one is, yeah, it's coming undone a little bit. So bit of quality issue right there. And here is Luke Skywalker without his robe. And some of the parts will look very familiar because we've already gotten the Black Series Luke Skywalker in the past, but without the Jedi robes. Return of the Jedi, and a different head sculpt, obviously. We'll do a comparison later on in a bit. Let me just show you what came with this figure. So he came with his trademark signature lightsaber. It's got this really thick blade, much thicker than its predecessor, which I will show later. Very nicely painted lightsaber hilt. Very cool. There is no hook to latch it onto, which is a shame. So yeah, and they've gone back to the flared peg type of nub for the lightsaber blade, and you know, over time I think that, I hope it doesn't break, but that might be the case if you live in a country like the Philippines, so it might become brittle. But other than that, so far it's so good. So far so good. Very thick blade and very nicely painted silver metallic hilt. He also comes with the blaster, which fits nicely in his hand. If you remember, on the sail barge, he did use some blaster to help his friends escape from Jabba. It's pretty cool. I like this. I really like this blaster. Nicely painted, nicely sculpted. There again, there's no place to put it. He didn't really carry this throughout the movie, so that's fine. Okay, and then there is this base that, just like the clone commander Obi-Wan Kenobi, you can put him right. I still don't get the this eludes me. The logic of this base absolutely is an enigma to me, and I just wish they would have gone with the peg holes. I mean, what's with the pegs? I don't understand why they put peg holes and not put pegs right here. They could have easily put pegs right here. It would still look great as a triangular base. You could put like Luke Skywalker or something. I don't know. But they didn't. They have this boot, and I guess it's to get him in a pose. Is that it? I'm sorry, Hasbro. I just don't get it. I think at this point in time, this is utterly useless, and it serves just as like a memorabilia souvenir, like you have Star Wars The Black Series and turned into a keychain or something like that. I don't know, but yeah. So yep, there he is. Pretty cool. The outer garment is sort of like kimono robe. Feels like a karate gi, and it's made of this soft PVC material, and it's done in a very lighter shade of gray. I guess it's removable if you really wanted to, but it's a separate piece. And underneath that you have his jacket, his, I guess his tunic, or his long-sleeved vest, or yeah, I suppose it's a vest jacket that we've seen in Return of the Jedi in the final battle with Darth Vader and the Emperor, and it's covered up in here. It's a shame I can't really show it off. It has this removable piece, and I guess that's the same one we got in the old Black Series figure. Okay, so yeah, some mold degradation, a little bit, because I think they used the same mold, but other than that, figure looks spot on. And for comparisons, here we have the other Luke Skywalker figures in the Black Series line, minus the Speeder Luke Skywalker, which I've already sold off, and the Hoth Luke Skywalker, which I already sold off. Felt I didn't need those. So here's the farm boy Luke. I think he is sort of the best one we've got after these two. This was probably the worst one. He looks like the guy from Terminator. But this is the one that supposedly the predecessor of this new Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. And what a big difference. Look how much improvement Hasbro has come a long way. Hasbro's come a really long way with these Luke Skywalker head sculpts. And look at that. Very nice. And even with this guy, I think we still have a winner with this one. The new face painting technology, the photo real face paint tech, absolutely amazing on these figures. Now, if you look closely, they seem like the same figure base, but with just this one. They're actually different. They're actually pretty much different. Let me get rid of this one first. We'll do a comparison of the lightsabers later on. The arms look to be the same. Even the hands. This one is different though. They changed this one, but this one looks to be the same. I don't know. It could just be a quality issues, but they look the same. The forearms look the same. Even the shoulders, the arms, they look the same. The crotch piece looks absolutely identical. The hip piece, the legs, boots, absolutely identical. They just changed the paint scheme a little bit. They made the Wellington boots a little bit shinier on this new Luke Skywalker figure. And it's a shame that the figure does suffer a little bit of mold degradation. As you can see, there's a little bit of looseness on the knees, but it looks to be the same mold. The shoulder, the torso, I should say, is, I think, different. It's probably a similar mold, but if you look closely, it feels like it's different. I don't know. Maybe it's just an optical illusion, but it feels like it has a deeper, more recessed armpit than this one for some reason. And that's why, if you look at it, the arm is a little bit away from the torso more than this one. This one's a little bit receded and this one's not. So I don't know if they changed it a little bit, but it feels like it's the same type of torso or mold that they use because of that removable plate or that removable vest piece, but they just made it deeper. So it's a small thing, not really as important, doesn't make or break the figure or anything like that, but I thought I should let you know. Also, it does not come with a belt. I'm sure there's a way you could put in this belt, but it will just be in the way of this one. It's of the kimono. The kimono is just going to keep popping out with the bits and pieces of the belt. And yeah, I think that was a wise decision. They just omitted this and just kept this one here. So yeah, but overall, I think this is still the superior figure over this one. The lightsabers appear to be identical, at least the hilt. It's just been painted differently. It feels, for all intents and purposes, it's the exact same mold lightsaber. It's also the very soft. This one's a little bit harder. I'll say that. It's still soft PVC, but not as soft as this one. Maybe the silver paint made it harder. Like the blade, on the other hand, is quite different. And this one does not have the flared peg, and it's a much thinner lightsaber blade by probably a millimeter or so. It also is longer by about 2-3 millimeters. And the light green color, the lighter shade of green it has, is a sort of more of like a chartreuse type of green. And the new one is it's closer to the green that Luke Skywalker had. It's more of an algae type of green. So I really like the improvements that Hasbro's done with this newer figure. So pretty cool. And so some final thoughts on the figure. It is obviously going to get a 10 out of 10 for me. I love this figure. It's probably my favorite Luke Skywalker figure. And, you know, in my opinion, I think this is the best Luke Skywalker figure we've gotten in the original trilogy line of Black Series figures so far by Hasbro. And I'm very, very pleased with this figure. I hear that in the US, it's supposed to be a Walmart exclusive. Out here in Manila, the best way to get this one, I don't think it's going to be out on retail like a Toy Kingdom or Toys R Us or that, because we don't have a Walmart store yet here in the Philippines. And your best bet at finding this one is you go through hobby shops in Green Hills like Hobby Corner or Our Toys, and try your luck in pre-ordering this item with them. If you loved this video, please let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this new Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker from the Black Series. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. This has been the Star Wars, the Black Series, Luke Skywalker as a Jedi Knight. Thanks for watching.